If you haven't heard of Infinix yet, you're about to find out. They are a company offering mobile products across the globe. Among their products, the Infinix XPAD is one of the most interesting things I've seen as far as value for money goes. Mostly because of the display size and the performance you get for the price of 7,499 Philippine peso for the base model we have here with 4GB of RAM and 128GB expandable storage. The top model only costs 9,499 Philippine peso and already provides 8GB of RAM, 256GB of storage, and support for a 4G LTE SIM slot. Just so you know, Infinix did not sponsor this video. I bought this tablet with my own money to review and provide feedback to those who are looking for a bang for the buck tablet. If I remember correctly, the Infinix XPAD is the most affordable 11-inch tablet right now. It has decent performance and decent display quality in a metal body that doesn't feel cheap once you have it in your hands. If what you're looking for is just a big screen to supplement your mobile use when watching videos on YouTube, Netflix, or any sort of video streaming, this nails all the basics. So let's start with the display. This is an 11-inch diagonal display in a 16:10 aspect ratio, meaning you don't get large black bars when watching 16:9 videos. The panel is a Full HD Plus IPS LCD and supports up to 90Hz refresh rate. As I've mentioned earlier, the display is good enough for watching videos online. It doesn't have the best colors or the brightest panel in its category, but it's not bad. Its display quality is closer to being good than being bad, if that makes sense. I will admit that the colors look a bit bland, but that is when you have them side by side with another device. Otherwise, it's fine. The peak brightness reaches up to 440 nits because there's no HDR playback support. Indoors, 440 nits is fine and bright enough to withstand strong artificial lighting. However, I did find the brightness slider a bit annoying. I usually have the slider at max in the day, but if I want to reduce the brightness, there's a drastic change between 90 to 100%. As a result, 80% and below are almost useless in any scenario other than complete darkness. 90Hz refresh rate may not seem much in the world of mobile devices, but I think it's not that big of a deal if the priority is having a smoother experience but not really needing 120Hz for gaming. Luckily, MediaTek Helio G99 has no problem supporting 90Hz on a tablet. This may be the only time I don't mind using the Helio G series for tablets since people use phones more than tablets, which is crucial in providing consistent daily performance. Of course, it's a different story when you're looking to buy a tablet for productivity, which is something the XPAD is not really great at but can be a decent alternative if you don't need to multitask, like for example, you want to have multiple apps open in the form of windows. Well, here you can only have one app in window mode. You do have split screen mode. It's not the fastest experience as you may find yourself waiting a few seconds from time to time, but it's totally doable if you have the patience. 4GB RAM is definitely enough for casual browsing and video streaming, but if you want a slightly smoother experience when working on a tablet, you can always go for the top model. You can even pair it with its official keyboard if you're willing to spend a couple of thousand peso more. But as far as my 4GB experience goes, it's enough to keep an app operating smoothly. You will notice occasional stutters and extended loading times from time to time, but it's not really that bad. You can extend the RAM to 8GB with MEM Fusion in the settings, but based on my experience, devices tend to slow down and lag more often than not, and that's true even for this tablet. For someone who's tested all sorts of devices, I must say I'm satisfied with the performance I get from the G99 and the 4GB RAM, even though it's below the industry standards. I think most of that is thanks to the fact that the XPAD is running near stock Android 14. You will immediately notice from the way the notification center and settings look. Even the pre-installed apps are very minimal. I think there's only one bloatware if I remember correctly. This is practically stock Android but with iOS branding. However, I do appreciate the fact we still get game mode and even full lags for what it's worth. The best about stock Android though is you can create multiple users, which is basically having multiple users with dedicated settings, home screens, and accounts, just like on a Windows or Mac device. The XPAD isn't the best when it comes to battery life, as the 7000 mAh cell is capable of averaging 5 to 6 hours of screen time with my type of use, which involves playing a game for no more than an hour and watching videos. The charging speed is also not the best in its category at a mere 18 watts via USB-C. A 14-minute charge only goes up to 50%. There's some substantial weight to the build of the XPAD at 496 grams, but it's not bothersome unless you're not used to bigger tablets. But at least you get the metal frame and metal back for that premium look and feel. This slab is actually made of plastic, but it's really not that noticeable. Personally, I'm not a fan of two slab designs like this. I feel like something might get in between and destroy the tablet in one way or another, especially since this tablet lacks any sort of dust or water certification. You still get a headphone jack, albeit in a weird, off-centered position, as well as 4 stereo speakers. The speakers can get loud, but just like the brightness slider, they are most usable between 90 to 100%. Weirdly, despite the large body of the tablet, the audio sounds a bit tinny and not as punchy as I would expect. Both front and back cameras use 8-megapixel sensors, but I must say they look impressive when it comes to videos. In fact, both support up to 1440p 30 frames recording with decent colors, especially for the front-facing camera. There's definitely room for improvement with the XPAD. I think the colors of the display and the sound quality could be better next time, but right now, I don't think there's a better alternative out there without needing to sacrifice essentials like Google support or after-sales service. Speaking of, I think this is promised to get one major software update, another area where Infinix could do better since other companies offer at least 2 or 3 major updates. But right now, I'm not complaining about it. That's it for this one. Drop a sub or like if you feel like supporting the channel. As always, until the next one, stay safe.